Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. In this video we will discuss about Elastic IP service of AWS, and before going to further details we will discuss why we actually need Elastic IP. For every EC2 instance in AWS we are getting two IP addresses, one is public and another is private. So the public IP address is the address that is linked with your application, and your application is running with the help of your public IP address. Even when you connect to your instance via putty, via SSH or through command line, you are only using the public IP address along with the key for the connection. So public IP address is very important for every EC2 instance. Private IP address is the address dedicated to this instance, but the problem with public IP address is that it gets on changing for every restart. Means if you are having trouble with your EC2 instance and you are going to restart it, sometimes we need to shut it down and then restart it. In that case, public IP address get changed. So your application is no longer linked with the previous public IP address, because on restart you are getting a new public IP address. So here comes the Elastic IP that helps to resolve this issue. Means with Elastic IP you are linking the private IP of EC2 instance with the Elastic IP address, and this Elastic IP address will become the public IP address of your instance. So this Elastic IP will now be used for the application launch, for the SSH putty connection, etc. So this Elastic IP will be your new public IP and it will not get changed for any restart. So this is the main reason why we are using Elastic IP. For every application, for servers, you need to use this service, and this service is paid for the clients. So let's start. Firstly, I have to log in with my AWS console, and next just create EC2 instance. Launch instance. Let's give it a name, and next you need to select the AMI. I'm choosing Amazon Linux AWS. You may choose any other machine. Next, T2 micro is free tier eligible instance. Key pair login is optional for this demo. If you want, you can choose it. Next thing to make sure is auto assign public IP should be enabled, because only then your instance will get a public IP. And allow HTTP traffic, HTTPS traffic. And just for the demo, we are adding a demo or we can say a static application to run. And for that you need to copy this script. You can run any other script as well, but I am using the same that we have used for the earlier videos as well. So this is the simple script to run a bash script with the operating system update, and this will install the Apache server to your EC2 instance, and this line will create index.html within HTML folder of www directory, and that is a subdirectory of var. And next line, this systemctl start httpd will start the Apache service, and this will enable the httpd, means Apache service, for every reboot. For every start it will automatically run the Apache service for your instance. So let's copy this and paste it in the advanced setting. We have already done this in previous videos. So this will simply give a demo of that your application is running on the public IP address, and launch the instance. Click on your instance, and here the state is pending. You may refresh it. Now the state is running, and let's check the details. Your instance has got two IP addresses as we discussed earlier. This is the private IP address and this is public IP address. So public IP address, if you may note it down, like ending with .28, and the private IP address is fixed for this instance. So whether you restart it or reboot it, it will not get changed, but this public IP address will change for every restart. Means whenever you are stopping your instance and then restarting it, the public IP address will get changed. So let's try this. So firstly, copy this public IP address and check whether your application is running or not. Simply paste this public IP and here your application is running, means your static page is running on the public IP address. Now let's try to stop and restart it. For that you need to select it, go to instance state and stop the instance. So it is stopping. Please note that the public IP address is ending with .28. Now our instance has stopped and we are no longer attached with any public IP address. At this moment your application will stop working. You can check it. Simply refresh your page and you will get the message that can't reach this page because this public IP address is no longer linked with your instance running that particular application. So let's start it again. Start your instance. Successfully started. You are getting notification, but the state is still pending. Now the state is running, but your instance has got new IP address as public, but private IP address is same. You got a new public IP address ending with .172. Now your application, the same application linked with this instance, will run on this public IP address but no longer be running on the previous IP. So you just paste the public IP address and enter. So now the application is running on new public IP address. So this was the problem with the simple public IP address. So to resolve this issue, we need to associate this instance with elastic IP address. And for that we need to select the elastic IP service from the EC2 dashboard. This is elastic IP. Click on it. Now I am not having any elastic IP addresses, so allocate elastic IP address. You can provide a tag for the name, or we can also do it later if you want, as tags required key and value pair. So you can give it a name like name. Name as the key and the value means your name of the elastic IP address as the value, and then click on allocate. So your elastic IP address has created with a unique public IPv4 address that you can allocate to some instance, and we are going to allocate this to our instance, and currently it is not linked with or associated with any instance. And for this there will be some private IP address of the instance that will be linked with this elastic IP address. So let's start by associating this elastic IP address with your instance private IP address, because as we discussed, elastic IP address will be linked with the private IP address of the instance. So here simply select your elastic IP address and click on actions to associate elastic IP address. Click, and we need to associate it with instance. Choose the name, as I have only one running instance, so it is simply popping the name, and also the IP address for the same will be listed here. So simply click associate. Now you can check the status. Here your elastic IP object is linked with this instance ID having this as the private IP address. So your instance ARN means Amazon resource name is listed here and its private IP address. Now if you refresh your instance, go to your instance. This time your instance will get a new public IP address. The details are showing the earlier one, but you need to refresh it. On refresh, you can see that now your instance has got the same elastic IP address as public IPv4 address that was assigned by elastic IP object, and it is also displaying its name as demo elastic. So your application now will be running on this particular instance. So let's copy it and paste it. Now your application will be running on this particular elastic IP address. See, it is opening as it was 226.149. So we are running the application on same IP address .226 and .149, and for every start and stop and restart of your instance, this elastic IP address is not going to change. You can check by changing the state from stop. It is stopping. So you can check that my instance has stopped, but still it got the same IPv4 address of our elastic IP address. You can match .226.149. So the instance has stopped. Here is the instance. So the instance has stopped, but it has got the same IPv4 address of elastic IP. So if you restart it, you are going to get the same IP address. So that's it for this video. Thank you. See you in the next video and happy learning.